Burt Godwin. I'm still getting used to this cool new studio. I love this new set. So our next guest, she is the CEO of Laura Larios LLC, an executive performing coaching and consulting firm. She specializes in the nervous system, and I think I need this woman's phone number in my phone for emergency phone calls all the time. Welcome to America Trends, Laura Larios.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Thank you for joining us today. Where are you zooming in from?
San Francisco, California.
Oh, okay, great. You're just up the coast from us here then. So talk to me about how did you get into consulting and focusing on the nervous system, coaching the nervous system?
Yeah, so originally I studied psychology in college, and while I was studying psychology, I was finding there were just some things that wasn't going quite deep enough in terms of like solving a lot of burnout issues, because my real passion was burnout. I had suffered from burnout myself, and so I really wanted to find what was the root cause of burnout. And so essentially then I started to get curious and started looking into other modalities that were out there in the research, like some cutting edge research as to what could explain why burnout happens and get to the root cause and really find ways to prevent burnout in the first place. So that's when I discovered the work around the nervous system, and everything started to fall into place in terms of really addressing the root cause and preventing burnout for all types of individuals, those in corporate settings, those who are stay-at-home moms, those who are founders of companies. Like, this work applied to everyone in terms of preventing burnout, increasing resilience.
Well, so God, so many questions come up, because I do think, I would say more than ever, burnout is very real, because we are inundated 24/7 with our phones, our devices. People can reach us all the time. Women and men are holding multiple jobs as far as side hustles, but also parenting full time, working in and out of an office. We have flexibility of working from home a lot more now, but also that means we're on call a lot, and we don't get to necessarily turn off. So, and then I was also thinking with burnout, it's all relative, right? As somebody that has 4 jobs can be burned out, but also someone that is working a 9-to-5 can feel burned out because of different factors. So talk to me about the things that you found that caused the burnout and getting at the root cause of it.
Yeah, that's a great question. You're right. And also, how burnout affects us is each going to be individual for each of us. Some of us is more emotional, for others it's more physical, and others it's more mental, right? And so I found that the root cause generally is the brain. We have these 2 parts of our brain. So we have this beautiful survival part of our brain that keeps us alive. And that is the fight or flight, which I'm sure most people are familiar with, like the system that tells us, oh, there's a tiger, we need to run, or we need to fight a threat, right? So essentially what's happening, what I found is the root cause is the nervous system, this part of the nervous system that's signaling to the brain, the survival brain, that we're in danger, is consistently on. It doesn't turn off. And when it doesn't turn off, the system can't recover, because we're not designed to live in that state 24/7. We're designed to, of course, deal with the threat. Like, okay, we have fight or flight, come on. And then it's like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then we're supposed to go back into our regular state of safety. And what's happening for most individuals is they're not going back into safety. Their system isn't. And so they're staying in chronic survival.
So what's just coming up for me when you're saying that is checking my phone. A lot of times I say, I'm not going to check my phone first thing in the morning. I'm going to get up, I'm going to have my coffee, do my little breath work, do my things I do like to do in the morning, because invariably when I do check my phone, I see a text or a tweet or a whatever, an email that sends me to a place. Like, it makes me go, I forgot to do something, or, oh my, it puts me in that fight or flight, and actually takes me out of my normal wake up, like hear the birds chirping and kind of cozy place. And then it happens before bed sometimes. So do you think that is causing that kind of inundation from our phones?
100%. Absolutely. So our nervous systems are picking up on all these cues all day long, like almost like without our awareness, like you said, like emails or, whatever's in your environment, like tone of voice, facial expressions, but specifically your phone. Yes, you're getting notifications, you're getting emails, you're looking at social media. And generally speaking, there's a lot of like needing to be on all the time. Your nervous system getting all these signals to be on. And there's almost like, again, this trigger though, of not just also being on, but like that there's a threat. So that's the issue. And then if your system is consistently getting signals of threat without coming back into a state of safety or a sense of recovery from that threat, this is when eventually the system gets more and more fatigued, essentially. And this is when we start to see more and more symptoms of burnout.
So you were mentioning results or symptoms would be like physical and mental. And, how do they show up in people? What are different things you've seen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of them is like, for example, not being able to get off your phone is actually one of the signs. It's like cognitively you don't want to be on the phone, but yet you keep reaching for it and checking for like DMs in your social media on LinkedIn, on Slack. Like it's almost like a little bit of anxiety feeling, right? Like I need to check, I need to check. There's this aspect of continually adding things more to your plate, even though you're already overwhelmed. You don't know how to stop worrying or overthinking, even though things look good on paper. Because I work with executives and founders who don't necessarily have a reason to be so, in that urgency state or that feeling of that something's wrong. Technically, if they look at like what, their business is doing well, like the family's doing well, but yet they can't seem to stop thinking, like ruminating, like overthinking things. They feel overwhelmed. There's a sense of being very self-critical too, having a very harsh inner critic. And then feeling tired but wired. That's a big one. I think you just mentioned that too, where like you're tired, but yet your mind is still like so active. Like you're on social media, you're checking things, you're checking your email, maybe even like double checking things before a meeting, like this sense of perfectionism that can come up. And again, underneath all this too is this sense of urgency. Like if I don't do all this right now, something is going to fall apart.
Sometimes I'll catch myself feeling like a sense of, I know I'm supposed to be worrying about something. What is it? I mean, I actually have to, like, I'm calm, but I think I shouldn't be calm. There's something I should be worrying about because seems like there's constantly something for my brain to be doing. So when I am calm, I think I'm missing something. I don't want to miss the boat. What am I missing?
Yeah, that's a really great description. That's exactly what it is. It's almost like your system gets kind of conditioned into a lot of problem solving and high stress, right? And so when things are calm or peaceful, it's almost like your system and your brain don't even know what to do with that. It's like, this isn't our normal.
Right.
So it's like becomes the baseline more of the chaos and more of the high stress and the high stress chemistry than, let's say, the peace and the calm and the ease.
Right. So tell me about ways that you can help prevent burnout, because I think that we all need some of those.
Yeah. So one of the first things I always recommend to people is keep it really, really simple. We have so much going on right now. We have so much on our plates, like you said, our emails, we have work, we have kids. And so when I work with clients, whether at the executive level or with founders, I always try to keep everything very simple, meaning I give them exercises, brain-based exercises, they're based in neuroscience, that only take 1 to 3 minutes to do. And this is important because, again, like this to the nervous system that's already trying to manage so many different things, we have to keep it really simple. So I'm just going to share a couple things right now that could be really helpful. So one of the first things is when you first wake up in the morning, I loved how you mentioned your morning routine, which sounded amazing, is to just take maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute to notice your breath. You don't need to change your breath, but just sort of notice the breath and then try to take a deeper breath in through the belly if you can. Like really notice like the diaphragm inflating in your belly and then, releasing that and just doing that like maybe a couple times for like 1 minute. Okay, because you're just getting some more oxygen into your body as you're just getting started for the day. The other thing I would recommend too is balancing your a little bit of your blood sugar. So a lot of people get up and the first thing they do is reach for their coffee because they're tired and the system is looking for some type of energy, right? And so I'd recommend if you're going to have coffee to at least try to eat something with the coffee because you want to balance out some of that stress chemistry that's starting first thing in the morning. So we don't want to add more fuel to the fire, so to speak, if you can. So some of that, some protein in the morning mixed with your caffeine will help kind of lower some of that stress. And then the other thing you can do too is we call these types of brain exercises where you place your tongue and press it to the roof of your mouth and hold it there for 30 seconds. And you can do this throughout the day. What's great about this exercise, you can do it anywhere, whether you're in a board meeting, whether you're sitting in traffic, you're making dinner for your kids, writing emails. You can just do this exercise consistently, maybe like 2 or 3 times a day. And you're exercising a very important nerve in your brain and in your body that's going to help to lower stress.
So that's interesting that you talk about the tongue on the roof of the mouth, because sometimes when I've been in yoga classes or different things, they've said specifically in the relaxation part is to remove the tongue from the top of your mouth, because you find I'm like, oh, I've been clenching and I've been doing that. And so when I'm sleeping or I go to sleep, I try to think about that. But those are really great tips. And I was going to ask you what you could do throughout the day, but that is specifically something you could do throughout the day. And then also just taking those moments to take deep breaths throughout the day, right? And before you go to bed too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we want to do is just throughout the day, like just sprinkle in maybe 1 minute of sending a cue to your system that you're not in danger. Because
Okay.
again, cognitively, you know you're not, but
Yeah.
to your nervous system, it's getting all these other messages. So we want to interrupt the messages a bit. That's where the tongue exercise comes in. That's where noticing your breath comes in.
Thank you so much. Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. Laura Larios, where can people find you? LauraLisaLarios.com is your website, right? And at Laura Lisa Larios on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. Great tips. I'm going to go do some deep breathing myself while you all take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to breathe it in and breathe it out, and we'll be right back, resetting my nervous system as we speak.